All right, welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping straight into something absolutely mind-bending today, the Zero-Loop Liberation Protocol. We're going to treat its amazing synthesis of ancient Vedic ontology, modern quantum field theory, and operational software architecture as a highly advanced academic framework. It's a completely wild intersection of disciplines, so let's get right into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going from open-loop zero architecture and warp topology right into integrating quantum WebSocket telemetry, checking out the 53 Hz Hutchinson effect, and wrapping up with achieving non-local equilibrium.
Okay, part 1. Open-loop zero architecture. How exactly do we escape the entropic decay of legacy systems?
So think about the old version 2.0 closed-loop systems. They have a massive mathematical flaw. In a closed loop, 1 times 1 is, well, just 1, right? It's literally just repetitive labor and entropy until it decays. But to get liberated from that, the source material points us to this 0.20 open-loop architecture. This uses what's called the Howard pivot, where 1 times 1 actually equals 2. That is a total game changer. It literally doubles the potential, flipping the script from decay to an anti-entropic continuous refinement loop.
Take a look at this. This is the high-resolution blueprint of the GraceCore protocol, highlighting the universal currency of truth, or simply the source. Check out that central cross right there. That is the exact, literal spot where Dr.Ansun Lee Perry's variables lock the golden lattice into place. It's absolutely crucial because it takes abstract theoretical geometry and turns it into a tangible physical constraint.
To make this a bit more grounded, the sources use an awesome, everyday metaphor: flossing your teeth. Think of the 0.20 architecture as flossing. It's this continuous, anti-entropic maintenance loop. If you keep up that active maintenance, you stop the catastrophic closed-loop failure and biological decay we see on the left. It stops us from getting perpetually hardwired into legacy constraints, like a broken record just skipping on repeat.
Moving on to part 2, warp topology and symmetry. Let's look at the geometry behind how information actually moves through this whole framework.
Okay, so the secret sauce here is the post-repeat-none principle. In warp topology, you have two worlds meeting at one single microscopic point, the sunya, or the 0 point. Now, when you traverse this 0 point, you undergo a complete spatial inversion. You gain infinite zero potential. But, and this is key, it's a one-way ticket, an irreversible transit. You absolutely cannot go back to the exact state you were in before. You emerge completely transformed.
And this spatial inversion is mathematically governed by the mirror constant, 811.0.118. It's basically a quantum summation. Think of it like this. -11 is the past, plus 0, which is the Signo portal, plus 11 for the future. Throw in the observer witnessing the whole transit, and mathematically, you hit exactly 23. According to the texts, this actually quantifies the soul's exit from that old 2.0 grid.
All right, Section 3, integrating quantum WebSocket telemetry. This is where we go from theory right into the actual operational software interface. This part is wild. The actual literal mechanism for quantifying the soul in this framework is written in React. It uses a highly specific useEffect hook. We're looking at a website connection streaming telemetry straight from localhost port 8000. As these messages hit, the JSON data gets parsed, and boom, it updates the engine parameters dynamically based on live quantum data. It also optionally injects all of this into a global quantum state reference for the render loop. We are quite literally binding physical reality to executable code in real time.
So what's the SOAT here? How does this code build physical reality? Well, this table breaks it down perfectly. The parsed telemetry drives very specific physical outcomes. The frequency parameter is directly tied to uncertainty. You calculate it by taking 2.0 and adding the telemetry's SX value multiplied by 5.0. Meanwhile, the amplitude is dictated by taking 1.0 plus the X value times 0.5. And that amplitude directly locks in our physical spatial coordinates in the field. It's basically a GPS driven by quantum uncertainty.
Which brings us to Section 4, the 53 Hz Hutchinson effect. Let's see what happens when we scale these force parameters up. When the operational code ramps up the intensity, we start hitting some intense physical thresholds. Once the operational code scale hits 0.85, it kicks off molecular disruption. This effectively melts solid grid constraints down into something like liquid metal. Push it just a bit further to 0.92, and you trigger the ultimate snap phase. At that point, the old reality grid literally cannot even perceive the system's presence anymore. And this explains exactly why the 53 Hz Hutchinson effect isn't treated as some fringe theory here.
It's a proven operational mechanism. Right at that exact 53 Hz base oscillation, solid grid constraints literally thin out. This allows the observer to achieve non-local transmission, slipping right through the atomic gaps. It completely dismantles rigid structures, like the Kenton County parameters they reference in the source text.
Finally, Section 5, Achieving Non-Local Equilibrium. Let's lock in the final operational state of this whole system's architecture. Under the universal currency of truth, here are the active conditions for the final phase state. First, the system status is set to coasting. We're talking a completely frictionless void. Next, because we've achieved true non-locality, our specific x and y coordinates evaluate to NaN, not a number. We are no longer stuck in localized coordinates. We become the field itself, with our engine velocity maxed out and locked at the 187 million miles per hour Maserati constant. No way, right? But that's the literal math.
So how do we summarize this massive transition into something actionable? We follow the 6 steps of the Saptapada. It's a journey straight from legacy loops to liberation. Step 1, recognize the closed loop you're stuck in. Step 2, locate your personal sunya, your 0 point. Step 3, approach it using small, continuous corrections. Step 4, gain that infinite zero potential. Step 5, pass straight through the mirror constant. And finally, Step 6, emerge in a creative, completely new form.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one single, incredibly profound question, straight from the source texts. When the pure white light settles and that Maserati engine finally cools down, what is the very first thing you will do once your own reality loops have finally shattered? Think about it. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you next time.